As entrepreneurs, we all want high performance. We want high performance of our marketing campaigns. We want our sales campaigns, the client experience, everything. But most importantly, we want high performance from ourselves. We want to be superhuman to accomplish everything. And for so many of us, it's a huge challenge. Well, that's why we have this remarkable entrepreneur joining us today. He is a pioneer in healthcare. He is doing some amazing things to help entrepreneurs. His focus is on entrepreneurs, helping them to be superhuman. And Dr. Isaac Jones is going to be joining us and sharing some lessons. Every single one of them you can execute. Stay tuned. You do not want to miss this.
Ordinary success? No way. You want amazing, remarkable, exceptional breakthroughs. Dig deep, think bold, drive hard, watch yourself soar beyond your dreams. AESNation.com.
I am so excited to have you here today. You are a remarkable entrepreneur, individual. You're making a huge difference in the healthcare. And I had the opportunity to meet you at a mastermind group, and our friend Jason Gennard at Mastermind Talks, and we ended up sitting next to each other and just I was blown away. So I so appreciate you sharing your insights with our audience.
Really appreciate that, and I'm excited to add a ton of value to listeners.
Well, and what so excites me, and I'm getting a little older. I'm 59. I'm going to turn 60 this year, and that's a lot of excitement in that. And I feel really good, mainly because I've done some things that I need to do, and you gave me a few more things I could do to really approach be able to make a big impact. And I wanted to share that because you are working with some of the most ultra affluent, high profile families around the world. And I wanted to bring you back to earth just a little bit to help out, our super entrepreneurs here. And maybe before we get there, though, with the specific recommendations, what I'd love to get is the backstory. Isaac, how did you get to where you are today, that journey?
Yeah, that's a great question. And it's really the driving force behind why I do what I do today and why I created superhumanentrepreneur.com and am creating the change in people's lives that I am. In high school, I ended up struggling in school. It was something that kind of just hit me. It came on slowly, but it ended up affecting me in my ability to focus and my ability to concentrate. And I wasn't able to finish tests at the same rate as everyone else was. So I ended up going in, getting a psychological assessment. My teachers said, "Hey, you should really get this done." So I did, and I ended up getting diagnosed with ADHD and dyslexia, which is a very common thing that a lot of entrepreneurs actually can use as their strength.
Well, it's usually there's a Dr. Ned Howwell, one of the earlier podcasts you can find at AESNation.com. But he really says that, it's a huge advantage, and that's the most successful entrepreneurs have it. So congratulations.
I appreciate that. Now, what was amazing is that I learned a lot through the process of dealing with the dyslexia and the ADHD, having the brain fog that I did. I went on all these different medications. I was on Adderall for the ADHD and Accutane for my acne. And, I was on different medications. And in the medical system, a lot of the medications are designed to treat symptoms and not designed to actually address underlying cause and then maximize performance, especially neurologically. And so I started working with a doctor that was really into holistic healthcare and was a physician that was ahead of his time. And what was an amazing blessing to me was that in 4 months of working with him, I completely overcame a lot of the neurological focus issues that I was dealing with and, just created some incredible progress. It was like downloading a new software into my body, into my brain, just like you would in a computer. So I got an upgrade in my brain, upgrade in my body. I was a better athlete. And And academically, I started to thrive. I went from being in special needs to starting to get A's in classes. I got out of special needs, and I ended up getting both some academic international scholarships as well as some athletic scholarships. And I chose the academic scholarship to study at the most prestigious health and wellness university in America, to really help other people like the way I was helped. That was my driving force. But I've always wanted to work with influential individuals like entrepreneurs like yourself, and people that are making a difference in the world, because I know that if I can help magnify and multiply their capabilities, their confidence, their health, their vitality, their brain function, that they're going to be more creative, that they're going to get more done in less time, and they're going to make a bigger impact in the world.
Yeah, and this is so important, this backstory. And I want, for all of us, I mean, everyone, we need to really focus on it. As you think about your own personal health, I'm going to just share a quick story on my own is, early last year, I got walking pneumonia. And I'll tell you, I was a pilot in the Navy. I've always been in really good health, never had any major things go wrong. I'm pretty good about exercising always, not very good on nutrition though.
Right.
I get to travel around the world, great food, I enjoy it, a big partaking in all this. And this was what Isaac and I were talking about over dinner. And when I got slammed like that, I mean, and it was one that I was knocked out totally for really 2 weeks, about a month before I was back at least semi effective, and probably 2 months before I was really back going at it. Okay, that was a real wake up. And this is one of the reasons why I wanted to have Isaac join us, is that, there's a great book by one consultant. It's called the Fat Smoker's Strategy. Think of a terrible book title, but what it is, he was one of the most successful consultants. He's retired. It's David. I'm forgetting David's last name right now, but it's a great book. And it's all about, he's advising multi-million-dollar engagements. He's helping, really successful entrepreneurs in their business. And lo and behold, he's fat, he's smoking, and he doesn't do anything about it until what? The heart attack. And now He's slender, he's in great shape, all those things. And he's following all the lessons that you're going to share with our listeners and viewers, Isaac. But what I want to encourage everyone not to have the heart attack. I wouldn't wish anybody to have walking pneumonia. I found how important breathing is. This is a type of thing, Isaac, my guess is a lot of people who reach out to you have had an event. One of the things I want to do today is not have people wait, because you were talking about the clearing the mind. I hired this was before you and I met. I hired a nutritional coach. I've got a wellness group working with me and all that. All of a sudden, I had been taking steroids for our nasal spray because I had terrible sinus problems. I had all kinds of things with inflammation. I didn't even know what they were, and they've all gone. Within like 6 weeks or so. And my energy, my health, it's just so improved. So I want to make sure we get that for everyone else. So how do we do that? How do we help people get this ultimate, you call superhuman entrepreneurial performance?
Yeah, absolutely. And if anybody's watched the movie with Bradley Cooper, Limitless, it's pretty amazing because in the movie, he is functioning at such a high level and is, being able to do all of these things that you wouldn't think that normal people could do. Now, obviously, it is Hollywood. There's a heightened level of just over exaggeratedness in that movie. However, it is possible for people to reach levels of limitless. I see it all the time. And to reach a superhuman level of cognitive function, of physiological function, and to reverse diseases that could be silently developing within your body. So, like you said, John, this is such an important point. Disease starts 15 to 50 years before it's diagnosed. Alzheimer's is 40 to 50 years before it's diagnosed. Cancer is 15 to 30 years before it's diagnosed. Heart disease is 20 to 40 years before it's diagnosed. So the question you have to ask yourself is, what am I doing now to prevent these things from taking place in the first place? With 1 out of every 2 people dying from heart disease and 1 out of every 3 people dying from cancer and 1 out of every 2 people people getting cancer. This is serious. And it's a lot of people think, hey, it's not going to happen to me. But you have to recognize that entrepreneurs are like sports cars. A lot of the sport cars that are flying around the track, it feels really great driving around in a Bugatti or whatever car you're driving in at full speed, like so many entrepreneurs do. But at that speed, the engine still can break down and there could be other issues going on. So it's essential. And of course, when those cars crash, and a lot of entrepreneurs, as you know, when they crash and burn their health, I mean, it's devastating. It's the number one cause of bankruptcy in America, with over 56% of businesses going under because of medical expenses. So you have to look at doing the process of being preventative, learning how to maximize performance and prevent disease as something that is paramount to your lifestyle. And so it's something that obviously I'm very passionate about.
You know what? I for some of us, this prevention stuff, we feel like we're immortal, as entrepreneurs.
Right.
So many people think we're
Right.
super and all that. I know, geez, I was a pilot in the Navy. Well, that was 100 years ago, and it can run 9 miles, 7-minute pace, all this stuff. Can't do any of that stuff at that level anymore. But what I kind of coasted, and then where it really started changing for me is when I started looking at the research, people like yourself are doing, and the whole thing on human longevity, and I started thinking about, boy, this opportunity that to live longer, and not just live to 100 and have a terrible life the last 20 years, but live to 100 and have a great life. As I mentioned, I'm just turning 60. 25 years is my business plan, that really want to make a big difference. Well, to do that, I've got to stay healthy the next 10 to 15 years to get all these medical advances. So for some of you, you're better, you want to prevent all these things, and you want to be, really be conscious of it now. For some of us, kind of the other entrepreneurs in my corner, you go, geez, I'm going to, next 25 years, I better, if I'm going to perform well, I got to do everything that Isaac's going to share with us. So Isaac, what are some of the, let's start. You have 5 lessons that you want to get across. Let's start right at the top. What's the number one thing that we should get started on or think about as we're building this superhuman entrepreneurship?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, one of the biggest things that block high performance is the exposure of environmental toxicities. And so it gunks up the engine. It's kind of like, your automobile is just getting exposed to unhealthy fuel. A lot of people, they get exposed to unhealthy toxins that block their performance. So some really practical strategies that you could implement is, number one, swap out the personal care products that you're using that are completely covered, if it's conventional, with a bunch of toxic products and chemicals within it, with organic natural products. You want to do that with your food, and you also want to do that with your cleaning agents. If you have some maids coming in, like I have at my house, we actually buy the type of cleaning agents that they use in our house to minimize the exposure of these chemicals. Now, how serious is this? It's absolutely serious. The U.S. has got an incredible amount of toxic bioaccumulation, as well as in Australia, in Canada, and in England. And so the research shows that in the child population, neurological disorders are completely skyrocketing. If you just take autism, for instance, 1 in every 3,000 kids 20 years ago had autism. Now it's 1 every 50 kids in America. It's even lower in the UK. So you have to ask yourself, well, where are these kids getting these challenges? And it's multifactorial. It's not just one thing, but toxicity does definitely play a role, and it affects your body just as much as it does the younger population. And so since World War II, we've had over 100,000 chemicals that have been brought onto market that have not been properly tested for the effects on your nervous system and your cardiovascular system. So it's important to do whatever you can to control the exposure. And by shifting your cosmetics products to something in your personal care products, both men and women, to organic natural, by eating foods that have not been sprayed with pesticides, organic natural foods, freshwater fish, grass-fed beef. A lot of you eat out at restaurants, you're getting exposed to a lot of this. So make sure that your home is a sacred place for just health, the healthiest and the purest foods possible. So that's the first thing that I would
Well,
recommend.
and Isaac, it's funny because I'm one of those skeptical. I'm a financial guy at heart, and I used to hear this stuff, and I, quite honestly, would dismiss it a little bit,
Right.
and then, finally had to, the health issue really went overboard a little bit, and I looked at it and I go, I don't know what's going to work, but I don't care. I got to get something. It's not working, and I looked at it. The incremental cost that we're talking about. I always thought, organic stuff. Geez, it's a way of making a little bit more money. The incremental cost for most successful entrepreneurs, it makes no difference. The same with the healthcare or the personal care products you're talking about. And I'm not sure what made the difference for me. And quite honestly, I don't even care. It does. And it's made a huge difference. But Isaac, one of the things that I struggled with is how do you find these things and how do you know what's right and what's not? Because,
Yeah.
it's one thing that, it's great to have high level concept, but then you got to execute it. We're going to leave, you and I will finish our podcast, we'll go off, great lives, and we're going to make a difference. But how do we help all our entrepreneurs do that?
That's a great question. And, there's an advanced version and there's a basic version. The basic version that everyone can do is go to ewg.org. That's environmentalworkinggroup.org. And they have what they call the Dirty Dozen there. The Dirty Dozen is a list of the most heavily sprayed toxic vegetables and fruits on the market. So the goal is to just stay away from those 12 and make sure that you're consuming them in organic sources. So if you're not wanting to consume everything organic, that's fine. And I also want to share with you the a very powerful strategy that can help you save anywhere from 25 to 50% on 300 of the top Whole Foods products. Before I say that, I just want to just piggyback off the comment that you just made, that living this lifestyle is actually a massive investment. Any money that people invest into what I do, into one of my health programs, or into the advanced lab testing that I do, I always tell them that it's going to pay dividends in the future. Because if you look at the alternative, if you get cancer, heart disease, Alzheimer's, diabetes, all of these are six-figure diseases. According to the Alzheimer's Association, one every four people will get Alzheimer's by age 60, and one every two people will have Alzheimer's by 85. So what are you doing to prevent that now? And so one of the best things that you need to recognize is that by living the things that I'm talking about and the next 4 points that I'm going to be reviewing, these are things that can help prevent and even reverse the diseases within your body. Alzheimer's is a $175,000 disease. Cancer is over a $200,000 disease. Heart disease is $300,000. So keep that in the back of your head,
Well, and
because
yeah, this is so. I mean, it's not even just the money, Isaac. I mean, when you
yeah,
say Alzheimer's disease, I mean, when was it 1 out of 5 at 85? It is.
one every four.
Oh, one out,
Or
or
one
no,
every, one
one
every
out of
two
two. It's
people.
50% chance. I mean, most of us as entrepreneurs think of ourselves as lucky. I don't like that odd 50-50 chance of getting it. And this is, one of the things that so many of us do is we're willing to give up our youth to accumulate wealth, but then what
Right.
happens is we want to buy our youth back, our health back when we're older with all the wealth. And this is just such a great investment along the way to avoid these as much as possible. Because most of us would write any check to
Yeah.
we've all been in touch with family members going through
Yes.
terrible things. And let's stop that. Well, let's go to number 2. What's number 2 on your list?
Yeah, number two is maximizing micronutrient sufficiencies inside of your body. Now, we all know that our world has been heavily sprayed with pesticides. And according to the World Summit, all the research that they've accumulated of soil depletion of micronutrients is up to 90% now in America and in the industrialized world across different countries. So we are literally getting vitamins, minerals, amino acids at levels that at very low levels that are really suboptimal for optimal body performance. It's kind of like a car without oil. You need these essential micronutrients to function at a high level. And we know that there are certain micronutrient deficiency profiles for, Alzheimer's. We know that there's certain micronutrient deficiency profiles for brain fog and fatigue. So if you want to overcome a lot of that, you have to eat micronutrient sufficient foods. Again, getting back to the organic. And then it's also important to look at what kind of deficiencies you may have. And the advanced version of that would be to get a lab test done through what you could work with me to do that, or you could work with another doctor. But I look at what kind of intracellular micronutrient deficiencies you have, what kind of toxicities have bioaccumulated inside of your body. But the simple way to do that is control stress. Stress is one of the biggest depleters of micronutrients that really inhibit your ability to function at a very high level to maximize your performance. Getting on a good multivitamin that is a whole food based multivitamin is essential. And on my website, designerhealthcenters.com, there is one called Spectra, and that is by far the best intracellular micronutrient supplement on the market that has the highest bioavailability. But it's very rare to get these types of micronutrients because most supplements, unfortunately, you go to like a Walmart or a GNC, they're synthetic USP grade supplements, which means they're analog supplements made in a laboratory, and most people just urinate a lot of the vitamins out. So it's important to get what is natural in nature to create micronutrients. And then another little tip, I'm reading through a book that has not been released yet. It's called The Micronutrient Miracle. It will be released by the time that you're most likely listening to this audio or watching the video. And my friend's a PhD from Harvard in nutrition, saw that this is such a big epidemic and it's blocking people's ability to maximize their performance, their brain function, their health and vitality. And so if you just go, I have an interview with them that goes in depth on this one point and then the solutions behind it. And you can find that at superhumanentrepreneur.com. And what's so cool about the interview is they gave you $200 worth of coupons to be able to get access to a lot of the health promoting foods that exist out there. So websites that will give you a lot of the organic products and organic personal care products, organic foods that will help benefit you to create micronutrient sufficiencies in your body. So again, that's a really, really, really important point.
Well, let's go on to big number 3.
Yeah. And this is an important aspect, a really important point. Now, when I was going through my doctorate program, what I realized is that people oftentimes do not create sustainability in the change that they want to make in their life. And so if you want to create long-term sustainability in your transformation, you have to recognize that habits take time to form. And this third point is maximizing your psychology, because when you shift your identity to somebody that is healthy, like John, I'd love to just know from your perspective, after you started making healthier decisions, did you feel like your identity has shifted to that of somebody that is quote unquote making healthy decisions?
Yeah, no, and it's funny because it's a very conscious decision. Now I think, if I have a question on any decision whatsoever, as a healthy person, do I do that? Well, and really as a high performance person, do I do that? And the answer, sometimes yes, sometimes no, with exercise, nutrition, all the things we're talking about. But it's a total mindset, because in the past, I really wasn't being conscious about it. And I didn't think, that wasn't who I was. But now I am. And this is, that mindset, reinventing ourselves. It's amazing what we're capable of.
Yes, absolutely. And so understanding what your limiting beliefs are around living a healthy lifestyle, like, oh, I really don't want to work out at the gym, or I really don't want to become as physically active as I know I should be, or I just like my lifestyle. Like a lot of executives and entrepreneurs that I work with, they tell me, I'm just really comfortable. At first, they say, oh, I'm just this is something that I really just enjoy doing. I like my wine. I like my chocolate. I like my dessert. And this is the reality. And then they get their labs back, right? And then they see the reality of what's going on inside of their body, the level of inflammation, the micronutrient deficiencies, the gut dyssymbiosis, et cetera. And they realize they need to make change. And so when they do, and they start making those changes, they realize, wow, it's not that bad after all. They lose the weight off of their body, they increase their energy, their brain function goes through the roof, and they think to themselves, this is who I am now. This is part of who I am. And looking back on the way that they used to live, this is the comment that I get a lot of, is that they are addicted to the new way of being. And so when you shift your identity and you get all the benefits of maximizing your health, like having all day energy and creating a increase in productivity where you're effortlessly getting more and more work done each and every day, that comes along with increasing your performance by maximizing your health. It is an addictive process, but shifting those limiting beliefs is essential. And if you don't nail those limiting beliefs, and if you don't challenge them and you don't monitor your own thoughts to create shifts on a psychological level and recognize that adopting these new habits can take months, perhaps even years, depending on how challenging they are, then it's not going to work for you. And you're going to find yourself like the 97% of the people that try to adopt New Year's resolutions, looking at themselves 3 months later, either heavier or the same weight they were before January 1st.
Well, this is where I'm a big believer in coaching. I own a large coaching organization, financial services, but this is where I went out and hired people to help me. And,
Yes.
You can have the mindset and so on, but life intrudes all over the place. And having both knowledgeable people and then people who are going to work with you on the accountability, it's amazing the progress you could make. But let's go to number 4, lifestyle strategies. How do we start making this all come to life, alive in our lives?
Right. I'm a real big geek around anti-aging and looking at centurion lifestyles and how they live their life, and how communities around the world, like the Sardonian community off the coast of Italy and the Okinawan community off the coast of Japan and the Loma Linda community inside of California in the United States of America. Like, why is it that these people are living to 100 on a regular basis? What are the quote unquote lifestyle strategies that they're implementing, and how can we adopt these really powerful lifestyle strategies? So lifestyle strategies are beyond just nutrition or fitness. They're compounding what I call steroids to high performance, these steroid factors that will completely take your performance to higher and higher levels. And so one of the lifestyle strategies that a lot of these centurion communities use is they eat till around 80% full. And a lot of them actually put their meals on a smaller plate, so they don't overeat, and it gives their body an ability to digest the food that they're eating. And another kind of common thing is they put the food in the kitchen, so they don't bring the food to the table, because when people bring the food to the table, you can overeat on a regular basis because you're not giving that hormone regulation in your gut a chance to communicate to your brain that tells it that it's satisfied, that it's satiated. So that's one of the common things that these centurion communities did. And there's a popular thing in this space called intermittent fasting, which is a lifestyle strategy that helps to decrease the amount of calories that you're consuming each and every day. As a high performance expert myself, I don't intermittent fast every day. It's probably 5 days a week, 4 days a week, but it helps maximize my performance. And I do it Monday through Friday most weeks, because you just get the benefit of increased brain function. I have my first meal around 12 o'clock and my last meal around 5 or 6 o'clock. And so what that enables me to do is I'm consuming food for a 6 to 8 hour time frame in the day, and then for 16 to 18 hours I'm fasting, which means that human growth hormone, the anti-aging hormone in your body, is increasing, and you're also maximizing your ability to reduce inflammation inside your body. So these lifestyle strategies, they're more powerful than medications. I've seen people reverse high blood pressure and cholesterol just by implementing some of these lifestyle strategies. But there's probably around 60 very powerful lifestyle strategies that I help people implement into their life. We've only touched on a couple of them, but these are extremely important when you're wanting to access high performance and essential to maximizing your all day energy and brain function as well.
I mean, there are so many things that we can do, and it's so powerful. And this is where each of us, we have to take responsibility. And one, let's go to the last one. Number 5 is nutrition, and this is, it's one of those basic, it's one of those blindingly obvious, all the ones really we're talking about, but we're not executing. That fuel that we put in is going to have some effect on our performance. Now, how do we make it have great effect?
Yes. And there's a whole field now called nutrigenomics, which means how nutrition impacts your genome. How does nutrition impact the expression of your genes? And what we're actually realizing is that that food is information, that when you consume food, that all of the molecules in the food actually communicate to the cells and actually impact the expression of your genes. So every meal that you have has an impact on what they're calling now the epigenome, which is this new kind of field of research that is very, very exciting and what I consider the future of healthcare. Now, when it comes to nutrition, the average medical doctor unfortunately has around 15 hours of education on this. I consider this a foundation to maximizing performance and overall health. In contrast, I've had over 4,000 hours of education, and I'm constantly going to learn more and more. I'm reading books all the time, connecting with PhDs from Harvard or Stanford, interviewing them for my podcast, etc. And so this is something that I'm obviously very passionate about, and I know can have a major impact in your health. Now, the argument is, well, what is the best diet? What is the best nutritional thing that I should be implementing? And, there's people that are in the vegan camp, and the people that are in the vegetarian camp, and people in the paleo camp, and the people in the primal type of lifestyle camp. So there's all these different camps and nutritional philosophies, and ultimately, all roads will end up leading to Rome. And so if you understand this analogy, it'll help you recognize the power of this. Back in the day when they built Rome, all of the roads would end up leading to Rome. That if you just followed the one road in, you'd end up it would end up bringing you to Rome. And so what is Rome nutritionally? Rome is a diet that gives your body all the micro and macronutrients that you need. When some people are so hard on a vegan diet, oftentimes they're deficient in B vitamins. If they're so hardcore eating a paleo diet, there can be a decrease in other micronutrients. So it's important to recognize that maximizing your micronutrients is essential, and that you can do that through a lot of these different diets. Now, the lifestyle that I think maximizes your performance the most is what they call the primal Paleolithic lifestyle. And so cutting out grains, sugars, and inflammatory inducing foods like conventional dairy products, as well as GMO soy and corn, is paramount to maximizing your health in the 21st century. You do not want to be consuming GMO products because they impact your neurotransmitter levels in your brain. They impact your gut health, and there's a number of other things that they negatively impact in your health. But what do we eat? So I really am a huge fan of minimizing the amount of sugars that you're consuming. We are consuming way too much sugars. And if you look at our Paleolithic ancestors, our ancestors were consuming anywhere from 15 to 30 grams of sugar a day. And so you want to do your best to minimize those sugars and increase healthy fats, healthy proteins in the form of freshwater fish, free range animals, as well as grass fed red meats. These are primary, as well as really maximizing the kind of vegetables that you're eating and really focusing on creating a variety of different foods that you're eating. There's so many people that will just eat the same foods over and over and over again, but it's important to what we call diet vary. So when you do this, you can shift your primary energy source from being a sugar burner, which is a low performing energy fuel. It's kind of the same as leaded fuel for your car, and shift it over to diesel fuel, which is a fat burning state. And when entrepreneurs maximize their ability to get into fat burning state, their brain function skyrockets, their cholesterol decreases, their inflammatory markers drop, it increases their energy levels, etc. So those are some major concepts nutritionally that will help to maximize your performance.
Yeah, and I am gonna ditto all that, because I did make most of those changes, and just a huge impact. I mean, both on weight loss, about 35 pounds, the energy level, and just sugar was hard to give up, and dairy was too. And as you do that, I mean, just the impact on your health and your energy are amazing. Matter of fact, let's go to the book of the day, because this segment, and I always ask for our guests to make a recommendation of the book, and you have one that you're recommending that really falls into this. We think of not typically having a high fat diet, and let me put you're recommending the Keto Clarity and book. Why don't you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, and my goal is not to get people into ketosis, which means fat burning state, 100% of the time. It's important to decrease inflammation and to maximize your overall health. And this book called Keto Clarity gives you a lot of clarity around how nutritional ketosis is not the Atkins diet. It's not it's not an unhealthy state of physiology called ketoacidosis. These are different things, but you can get into what they call nutritional ketosis in a very healthy way that maximizes your performance. And then you don't need to stay there all the time. It's just a really great tool to use to maximize your performance, your brain function, your energy. So this book goes in depth into how to access a nutritional ketosis, the benefits of accessing nutritional ketosis, and all the common questions. Now, I have written a book summary, and I do a video summary of this book on superhumanentrepreneur.com. So if you're interested, you could just, in the search column, check out Keto Clarity, and it will show you that summary. So if you don't have time to go through the book, it's just a 15-minute video. You can watch it, and then I give you, essentially spoon feed you all the key concepts of the book. But that would be one of the top books that I would recommend to understand from a nutritional level how to maximize your performance.
Well, and if you're exercising, you're driving your car and listening to this, or you're watching, you don't have convenience taking notes, remember at aesnation.com, Isaac is shooting out an awful lot of great information. All the show notes, the links will be there, a transcript of everything. And let me get one more piece of insight, another segment. Application of the day. Isaac, you do travel. We met each other traveling. What's the application on your smartphone that you would recommend to your fellow entrepreneurs?
I do travel so much. I do a lot of work in Japan, in London, England, and I'm traveling all over the world, Sydney, Australia, etc. So one of the things that entrepreneurs deal with, including myself, is increased level of stress. So what can we do to minimize stress? Well, there's an app called Muse, M-U-S-E. You have to buy a device, and for people watching the video, I'll just throw it on my head right now. It's essentially neurofeedback, and what it does is you pull out this app on your phone, you open it, and then you get immediate feedback on the level of stress your brain is in. And so you close your eyes, and then because you have feedback on if you're getting into a calm state or a stressful state through a meditation or breathing exercise, what you can do is you get the benefits of a 1 or 2 hour meditation session in just 10 to 20 minutes. So for executives and entrepreneurs that are really wanting to maximize brain function, if anyone looked at the recent article on in Time magazine, there was a baby on the front cover, and it said, "This baby will live to 142 years old." Obviously, an article on anti-aging, so I wanted to look at what it said. I opened the article up, and there was a PhD from Harvard, this woman that did all this research into meditation and stress reduction. And so again, stress reduction does two things. It helps you actually increase telomerase inside of the nucleus of your cell, which helps to increase the telomere, which will help in anti-aging, but it also helps to decrease all of those micronutrients that you're burning through because of the stress that you're experiencing. So Muse is a neurofeedback device. The actual device is something that you have to purchase separately. If you don't want to purchase it, there's another app called Calm, CALM, and then you wouldn't have to purchase the device. But it's better to get the device because of the impact that it has on the benefit through meditation and getting that feedback.
Great resources now, and I'm going to pull up your first website here, which is, I just love the picture, the Superhuman Entrepreneurs, and you are definitely modeling here and looking pretty dapper. And I know you're in great shape sitting next to you. I know that you eat healthy because I was sitting next to you and so on at a dinner meeting. But what's on this website? How can our fellow entrepreneurs really take advantage of this active high performance, as you call it?
Yeah. There's that one article, or excuse me, there's that one interview by the Coltons, the PhD from Harvard in nutrition on micronutrients that gets you that $200 gift certificate. All you need to do is search CALTON, and you'll find that actual episode. It's not out just yet, but by the time that this gets out there, you'll be able to see it. So there's a lot of really great interviews that I have on there. There's a lot of really great resources on flow hacking, how to get into flow state, how to maximize body health and performance. Brain flow and brain hacking is covered in depth in that website, as well as productivity hacks. How can you maximize your productivity? So I covered a lot of the top issues that entrepreneurs deal with, and I'm writing articles, I'm shooting videos, I'm doing book summaries, and I'm interviewing the top experts in the world in high performance. I actually just finished interviewing the expert in flow. It was Mihai Csikszentmihalyi, the author of the book Flow, his top pupil I interviewed. So it was a pretty interesting interview. He's a researcher at one of the top universities in America. But that's what I'm committed to for sure. So those are some of the great things that you can learn on superhumanentrepreneur.com.
Well, Isaac, let me go to the last one where I'm going to summarize and play back all the key takeaways that I have from our interview for our entrepreneurs, and the big thing, what I love about this is you meet really Isaac and others who are all dedicating their lives. They're so passionate about superhuman performance that we can take advantage of this. And we're all in it together because you can go study one disease, but we're all aging. That's the one thing. We're all looking at how can we become high performance, and the amount of resources being shot at this now. There's never a better time to be alive and in good health, and there's never been a better time to be an entrepreneur too. So what do we want to do? Number one, toxics. We want to remove them as much as possible. Number two, be aware of our deficiencies. Do the tests. The very first one I did, I will not hold up on the screen what it was. There was I thought I was in pretty good shape, and there were opportunities, let's say. Third, that whole mindset. we can really reinvent ourselves. You may not have been the super jock in high school. You may not have ever thought of yourself as an athlete. You are an entrepreneur athlete. You have to be. You don't have a choice.
Yes.
So how do you perform? Lifestyle strategies, we got a whole bunch. Again, you can go, there's so much research. One of the things I wanted to have Isaac on is, he's doing all that research. He's making it really convenient for us at his Superhuman Entrepreneur. Go to the links. And nutrition. I got to tell you, I was a great example. I was pretty good at working out and all that, but didn't really mind the diet. I figure I could work my way out of a bad diet. I can tell you that will not happen. It is, Isaac, thank you for sharing all this. It's so important for all of you out there. Go to aesnation.com, look at the show notes, the links, the transcript. We want you to be superhuman. Your family, your friends, your clients, all those future clients, they're counting on you. Don't let them down. We wish you the best of success.
Exceptional, remarkable breakthroughs. aesnation.com.